to that, that, if say, let's just use paving, for example, if a paver wanted to bid on it with the option that, if you'll consider some in-kind opportunity here, you've done a lot of work with Innisfail. I'm not going to give any names or anything, but you may suggest to them that we can get some kind of a tax credit to them in a contribution to the project or to the community. I don't know, but I think to start off with, we've got to call for the engineering to be done on it anyways, no matter how we go about it, right? And then you can go to an ABC engineering company and ask them to project manage it for you. And then we work with them on who they invite and our opportunities for in-kind with those suppliers. There'd be a little more work certainly on Director Kennedy's hands, but.
So your worship, back to CEO Becker and Director Jenkins with the fundraising component, is it possible for the town to kind of be a part of that? And then maybe you have these external stakeholders as well that come together, and I don't know whether there's a committee that the town could ultimately form to take that on, or how do you see that working?
I'm not sure that's the nature of this conversation on council's expectations. As we're talking more, I see it more as the town generating a campaign. How it'd be initiated out to the community, I'm not sure. Maybe it's like the skate park, and there's fundraising opportunities but you need to, if you want to raise 300,000, if you want to sponsor it, is it a monetary donation which you can provide, or is it a company in town can get some sort of recognition? What does that look like? So until we have that discussion, what those possibilities are, it's hard to say how it'd be administered.
But I think you do have to have a game plan that takes you right to finality too. If this happens, that happens, but we won't know that until we get some numbers to work with, but.
Well, 900,000 is the budget.
I guess, yeah.
Yep.
Your worship, through to Director Jenkins, if you like, I can mention it at Rotary this Thursday and kind of see where things are at there and whether they would like to be part of something still, or what they're thinking.
And I guess maybe if they, if there is hesitancy, what component of it is there?
Mhm.
Is it that they're hesitant? Is it
Yeah.
just that they don't want to be the main person, or is it, but they would still, their golf tournament or things like that,
Yeah.
they would put the proceeds towards,
I
or.
think it's just like anything, right? It's
Mhm.
capacity.
Yeah.
And, I know they were going to reach out to Lions and Kinsmen as well and
Mhm.
have a chat with them about it. But I think there's probably a fairly significant community component out there doesn't necessarily belong to a service club
Yeah.
that would like to be involved.
And I know, we have various other projects on the go, whether it is Diamond 7 or playgrounds or, different things that we've sort of wheelchair vans, like all of these different things that we're sort of like, oh, and maybe the Lions and maybe the Rotary will do these things. So, there is a lot of competing activities too. So.
Yeah, and sometimes too much is put on those organizations as opposed to
The wider.
a broader community component. I mean, what do you do with all the people that want to get involved and they don't have that avenue to get involved with? So I don't know how you pull all that, pull them in exactly, but
Ideally, this try to have a tough time internally, because you bring somebody in, like somebody could support a campaign program, but you have that individual that has those abilities to really go out to the community and present that information, and ask for interest in resourcing this project. Right now, again, we're pretty tapped to be able to do that. But there's certainly individuals available that could support that.
Yeah. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, just kind of another subject. Found the heliport to be, in the past year, to be very emotional, and people certainly want to get behind it to the extent of, even, like I said, the surveys I did privately, they were willing to pay a tax increase to have it happen. Early and maybe now, should we not approach the county too? And I know we always end up going there for things, but I would think this will have a component of interest to them. And I think if we approach them early, it seems to me in some of our training, when you're doing things collaboratively, if you approach early, you get a better reception where they can have a part in it.
Councillor Reber?
I would agree that that's an avenue we should follow through on us with the county. And I think, just to throw a number out there, I think as a community fundraiser, I think we could go after $150,000 to $200,000 as the community component. And you know, if you can get people to certain, you know, there's families out there that I think would be willing to put in 3,000 or 5,000, especially there's a lot of families that have been directly affected through stars and stuff. I think if you market this property and I think if we're looking for a budget number to work for, I think that would be a realistic number to just throw out there.
Have you got enough to work with to get back to us on?
Yeah, I think so, Mayor and Council. I think what we'll do, I'm not going to ask for formal direction today on the campaign fundraising, but we're going to gear towards that. I wouldn't mind having an administrative conversation what that looks like. We'll probably likely start formulating something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picking up. Somebody needs to develop a campaign. We're still working on a potential group to maybe support that. So we'll have some conversation before we ask that formal direction, but we'll initiate some work on that immediately.
Have we researched grant opportunities at all?
It is something you could still like look at a CFIP or those types of things as
Yeah.
well. It is a facility. Just with the comment about Red Deer County, whether there's some regionalized, those types of grants, they often like to see cooperation. But yeah, I don't know about anything through AHS directly, or I don't know that they have anything that kind of goes that direction. But all of those other ones, the farm credit, the UFA, those smaller ones. But again, similar to like what the baseball group has been doing, you know, having somebody chasing all those little 5,000 here, 3,000 there, can add up as well.
Okay, well, and Councillor Barkley was going to talk to potential funding as well. So if you've got enough to work with for now, we can keep the project alive and I think the community would support it well, Danny. I think that is a good point. And I guess there's also the option of debenturing it too, but I don't like that word. Anyways. Any other comments? Oh, yes. Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship. A little bit off track, but where are we at with transportation? Isn't our temporary suspension over in June or something? Like where do we go to from here? Because we're certainly not going to have anything started by the time. We only got a 1-year extension, didn't we? I guess that's my question.
Correct. So we did inquire about that. So they have just expired it. The process to just between letting it lapse and just getting a new one was very similar. So they did it just expire. So right now it's the same process as it was before. It's the airport is the mission where it lands right now. So that's the active kind of mode right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, let's take that and food for thought and see if we can come back with some other ideas. Okay. Is that fine with everyone? No? You don't need a motion? Or do you want a motion?
Just for information,
Okay,
please.
information to proceed with the project.
No, just to receive the report as information.
Oh, okay. Is someone prepared to make that motion?
I'd so move, your worship.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harrison. Discussed enough? All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. 3.4 2022 budget survey. Director Vickers.
Interim. So I'm going to present a citizen satisfaction survey or a citizen budget survey or a citizen's perspective survey, however we want to word it, right? So the purpose is to have council discuss completing a citizen satisfaction survey for the town of Innisfail. So citizen satisfaction surveys are conducted to determine how satisfied the public is with municipal programs and services, and to learn what citizens' service priorities are. Responses are weighted by age, gender, and town-wide distribution to accurately reflect Innisfail's population. Results are benchmarked against other local governments. Insights gained by this research can help us make important decisions regarding planning, budgeting, and service improvements. So why citizen surveys matter? So the opportunity to layer science into ongoing feedback that the town of Innisfail receives from citizens, the opportunity to explore the connections between different views and perspectives, performance management within the organization and against normative measures, and to demonstrate publicly that the town of Innisfail is considering integrating citizen input into the decision-making process. So Ipsos is one of the leading companies to conduct such surveys. We have reached out to Ipsos and they have provided us with a quote, to conduct a citizen satisfaction survey for the town of Innisfail in 2021. So Ipsos would conduct a telephone survey with random sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So they would conduct a telephone survey with a random representative sample of 300 adults aged 18 plus residents of the town. Based on Innisfail's population, an overall sample of 300 yields a maximum margin of error of plus or minus 5.5 percentage points, 19 times out of 20. So gender and age quotas will also be applied. The survey length will be approximately 15 minutes with a total of 2 open-ended questions that will be coded. So Ipsos will work closely with the town of Innisfail team to develop the questionnaire and can provide examples from other Alberta municipality surveys tools they have designed. So Calgary, Canmore, Lethbridge, Red Deer, Ponoka, Hinton, and 2 are attached to this. So town of Ponoka and town of Canmore. So once the questionnaire is finalized, Ipsos will program the survey into their in-house computer-assisted telephone interviewing system and will conduct a pre-test of the survey programming. They will then conduct a total of 300 telephone interviews with citizens of the town of Innisfail aged 18 years or older using random digital dialing methods. Quotas will be placed on age and gender categories to align with the most recent Statistics Canada census data for the town, and statistical weights will be applied to ensure that a representative sample in the analysis of the results. Following the completion of the data collection, Ipsos will prepare a detailed PowerPoint report for the town of Innisfail's review, input, and ultimate approval. And Ipsos would be pleased to present the findings of this research at no additional charge. So the cost of this survey to the town would be $22,000. So this would help council in 2022 develop their 4-year strategic plan and also help us in future budgeting years. And we would develop a communication plan to advise the residents of the survey. So the recommended motion that we are looking for is that council accepts this report as information and directs administration to bring back a request for decision for Town of Innisfail Citizen Satisfaction Survey at the next council meeting for further direction.
Okay, thank you. I guess first of all do you want to discuss this first, or you want to make a motion to proceed for the purpose of discussion?
Your worship, I would make the recommended motion.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll open for discussion. Councillor Reber.
Through to Erica, is the plan then going forward to do this in all the election years so that you get a trend? Like, would that be the?
Yes, it would be anticipated that we would do this continuously, right? Some of the municipalities actually do it every 2 years, and someone like Calgary does it every 6 months. But every 4 years, as the election cycle occurs, would be my expectation that we would continue to do this going forward, so we can kind of see that trend on how things are going.
Your worship, through Derek, I like the name of the citizen perspective survey.
Yeah.
As opposed to budget survey or
Yeah.
satisfaction. I think that's what we're looking for, right? Is their perspectives. And
Yeah.
I see that's where Canmore names theirs.
Yeah.
Councillor Bates.
Yes, through to Erica. So do you know how they, like when they try to phone 300 people, once they've got 200 in the bank or 250, they're still trying to get a overall representative of age and everything else. So if they hit the wrong person at that point, do they start?
They would continue to call different people until they reached
So
those.
do they ask them some of their demographics then before they continue with the survey, or do they
That would be some of the
do
first
more than
questions.
300 and then just filter some of them? I'm just curious how they do that.
No, they would ask those questions first, what gender you were and what age demographic, because they maybe need 25 females, 18 to 25,
Right.
and they need 25 males.
So would they just say to the person, we've got too many of you already, we're not going to continue, or?
In some form, yeah.
It's kind of, and because and obviously Ipsos would know more than any of us, but it seems to me like my own personal opinion, when I get surveyed now, I get more cynical than I used to about surveys. And sometimes I just choose not to participate, and I know a lot of people that won't even answer a phone call unless they know who it is. The demographics, I think, of surveys are changing, and obviously Ipsos would know that.
That happened, but like I said, yeah, they do them all the time for other
Yeah.
municipalities. They just did one in Canmore in 2021, so.
Well, I think it would be useful to have that information. It's hard to quantify the 22,000, but I always want more information.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Erica. Yeah, Ipsos is a very reputable survey company. Like I'm certain that they would sort of know how to conduct a survey like this. And it looks like they've done 4 or 5 for other communities that they seem to be fine. I support it because I think, other than the A&Ws and the coffee shop talk that we hear on the street, here's a scientific way of actually finding out what's going on within our community. And, it's a little more science behind it, and we can stand up and say, yes, it's just not what I heard at McDonald's on Friday, because that's a group. This here it's all based on, whatever the statistical analysis is. So I would certainly support it, because I think this is probably one of the only ways that and I like the idea of the citizen participation survey. It shows a little more ownership on there for the citizens, a little more. So I would certainly support something like this. I do have to ask the question about where's the funding coming from, because we get hit with that all the time from the A&Ws and the McDonald's people that we meet. Yeah, here's another survey. Here's another study. You're wasting money again. So if we have I have an answer for where the the dollars are coming from. I can defend the science behind it, but they always ask, well, where are you getting the money from? So if you can help me with that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pardon me? What was that? More heckling.
Did you want to try and answer that, or?
I mean, I can. Realistically, it's probably going to come out of reserves if you guys approve this. But the whole thought behind this would be that in the future, it should show its money's worth, right? It should either save us money, it should push us in the right direction on where we're going to budget in the future.
Thank you. No, I fully agree, and I fully support the idea.
Okay, Councillor Reberger.
Just a couple more questions on the demographics then. Do they split it up geographically at all, or renters versus homeowners at all? Like, is it all just age and income based, or how do you get as broad a perspective as you can?
As far as I'm aware, it's just by age and gender, but we can ask some of those questions about if we want, right? Do they own? Do they rent? We could potentially ask what their financial situation is to see how that is for the town as well. But I don't believe that that's how they pick their statistical pools from.
Yeah, I just wonder how you get the broadest perspective that you can, and you don't unintentionally get all the people from one neighborhood that just got their streets all paved and they're all happy versus the ones that have lived on 57th Street for 30 years.
Have we done this in the past?
Not through a company like this.
No. And specifically, what kind of information do you think is going to be?
We haven't explored those kind of questions yet, but it can be something as simple as, how's your quality of life, right? How do you feel the quality of life has been in the past 3 years? How safe do you think the town is? How good the services are, right? Like, which service do you think is the most important in Innisfail, whether it's protective services, fire services, recreation services, or how well do you know where your tax dollars are going?
Yeah.
Questions like that.
Yeah, your worship, I just think it's also quite important, this strategy as well, as because you're going to get the people that aren't necessarily very vocal. They're the people that maybe just keep to themselves, and being able to be reached in the comforts of their own homes might be able to give us a perspective that we might not get otherwise. So I think that's pretty valuable. And I still think yes, another survey, but I think that if this can be with the intention that it's going to be to start basically a catalog to keep keep historical benchmarks with how our municipality is doing and how our citizens are, I think it's totally worthwhile investing those dollars.
Any other comments? Councillor Harrison, your mic is on. You're not intent? Okay.
I'd be scared to turn it off.
Yeah, I have a hard time myself thinking that we can't, it's not another type of survey we could do on our own with our own system that we have used already, but this is almost something that you need a personal contact with.
This way it's totally unbiased, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
can do our own survey, but then it's hard to control who is going to answer the survey, right? It could be all one type of demographic. It's going to be all the people at the A&W that call in and do the survey, right?
Yeah.
This way, hopefully, the aim is that statistically we get a wide range. It could hopefully some well people, some well-off people, some not so well-off people, all different ages and genders, right? And chances are most of these people are not going to be people that call in and complain to the town, that they're not on Facebook, that we don't actually hear what their what they're thinking and what they're saying, right? And this will be completely anonymous, so hopefully most people should feel comfortable saying how they feel.
I'm just worried too, but the response people have anymore about surveys but hopefully we can get.
It is pricey, but you think 300 people, they're doing, first they have to find the phone numbers, and then
Yeah.
they have to do a 15-minute interview minimum with each of these 300 people,
Yeah.
and then compile it and create the report for us. So I thought it was expensive too, but I realized after that it's pretty on par with something of that status.
Any other questions or comments?
Your Worship, just like I think we're all on side, but I'd be curious to hear the CAO's recommendation.
Your Worship, Councillor Bates. So interim director Vickers provide the reports. She's really speaking to you through me in sort of sense. I signed off on the reports. I think it's something I might have hinted at, but we've talked about really loosely over the course of this term, is to do a preliminary budget, citizen engagement of some sort to get some real data to allow council to formulate budget, but also your priorities. And this is exactly the step to do it. Erica presented this to me a few weeks ago, and I thought it fit right into an expectation I would have to start engaging the community periodically. And I saw municipalities every 2 years, they would undertake that benchmarking. So in 4 years or 2 years, whatever the years are, you can look back and say, yeah, the public perception, opinion of council and administration has dipped by 5 points or whatever, or it's gone up. So you kind of do your benchmarking and set your priorities. And why do they dip or why do they improve? Like what's going on in reality? So to me, I fully support this project. I think it's going to give you some good tools as council and future council in helping create that priority agenda moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm having a hard time supporting this, and the reason being is that the timing of the COVID and everything else, I don't think people are exactly in a frame of mind to be accepting more surveys. Although the information is certainly welcome. I don't get me wrong. I'm not, if we can get that, but I just don't know how well it's going to be received by the community. But I will support what council's wishes, and we'll go from there. So if there's no other comments.
I have one.
Oh, okay. Councilor Reber.
Just a thought. We're getting closer to the end of the budget year, or we're halfway through. Where's our contingency at? Could we fund this from contingency?
Okay. Councilor Bates.
Yeah, just the last question I had. So is the motion that we're going to call it the Citizen Perspectives Survey? Is that the way it's? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? I'll ask the question then. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Erica, for that information. It was kind of a tough one for you. Anyways, round the table discussion. Councillor Morrison, do you want to start?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Thank you very much, Your Worship. Yeah. Yeah, all week I pretty much tried to stay as cool as I could, but I only had one engagement and it was on the weekend on Canada Day. I did spend an afternoon at the historical village, and I believe the historical village was quite happy with the turnout. There was close to what Anna figured, about 320 people went through the village. So I was at the fire station, or the new fire station, and a lot of people came through there. I figured about 120. So lots of questions and lots of young people that were quite interested. Maybe it was just the red fire trucks, but they had a lot of questions on Innisfail's history and looked at the photos that we had there. So it was good. Other than that, I've got a police and safe committee meeting on Thursday evening, I think. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Reber.
Just waiting to see what name you're going to use. So I also attended at the historical village after the cruise. The cruise was quite interesting. That's the first time I'd been in one of those. And it's nice to have friends with nice cars. I couldn't afford anything like that. The historical village was, yeah, there was a lot of people there, a lot of, as you said, stated, a lot of kids. The Canada Day scavenger hunt was quite interesting. I was able to get onto the app and see some of the presentation. I don't know. I couldn't get onto all of them. I was probably doing something wrong, but there was quite a few good pictures on there. And of course, one of them was of me, so I had to find that. So yeah, and there is no fossil category, so that wasn't the reason for it. And we did have a library meeting last week, and we were able to meet in person with our masks and everything. And they're got their 3D printer up and running from the grant through the Elemental, and they're pretty close to being able to put it out to the public to be able to make your requests and have things printed at a pretty reasonable rate. So they showed us some samples of the things they've been experimenting with, and it's I think it's going to be very well received in the community. So that's what I've been up to.
I move to adjourn. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Come back.
We will be on an open mic here in about 15 seconds. If you want to.
Not today. No open mic today.
Okay. All right. Councilor Burke.
Carry on. Yeah, I attended the fireworks on June 30th and Canada Day celebrations on July 1st. So thank you to the Community Services Standing Committee, which I know Councilor Rehberger is a part of. It was a great job in maybe not the most, the best year to be doing something like this. So you did very well. Tomorrow have our MPC tomorrow. We had an IDP meeting today with Red Deer County before council. And if everybody could just pencil in their calendar, September 2nd, there's going to be a celebration out at the LLC for the 3 women in our community, healthcare professionals that won the RPAP award for the Healthcare Heroes Award. And it's going to be a little bit of a larger celebration where we're going to expand that into celebrating the healthcare professionals in our community over the last year and dealing with COVID, and maybe even there was 3 physicians that retired last year. So we'll hopefully get them involved as well. So I think there'll be a barbecue, and then the inside portion after lunch will be invitation only. And I know council will be invited to that. So I just wanted to mention that to put it in your calendars before you get busy.
Okay, Councilor Bates.
So I also attended the fireworks. They were different this year. They were like, it was like the finale all the way through. They were really good, but yeah, they seemed to go quick, but very spectacular. I also stopped in at the village, and it was great to see the turnout there. I have MPC this week, the police and safe communities. I just saw in my email before I came that there's an HCMA Zoom tomorrow, lacrosse. I might not make that one. I made the other 4. I do have a question. last year we quite, and maybe it's a little too early to answer it, but we were monitoring how taxes paid went. Are we looking pretty good this year, or do we know yet, or?
Yep, we're pretty good this year. This year, we're more on par with past years. Last year was kind of an anomaly for how many people prepaid, but we are sitting at where we expect to be normally at this point in the year.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, not too much more to add. I did enjoy the fireworks, and that, yeah, I kind of thought that the budget must have been a little bit bigger this year because there seemed to be quite a few more fireworks, or maybe they were discounted, who knows? But yeah, it was very good. But other than that, Your Worship, just trying to beat the heat. And that's about all. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. I did notice, but I wondered if maybe it was a different contractor this year. I don't know, but he used just that new tower system to, they're not running 50 feet to light a fuse. And they got everything on electronics now. So it was great. I thought it was great. I haven't been actually involved in too much other than that. Had a good time on July 1st. I think if we can continue, that would be great, and build on it. I think there's a lot of room, a lot of things we could do. I'm encouraged the committee to keep their minds in gear, but yeah, I don't have much other than we've been in some discussions about the SRD and such for our dealings going on there. The Water Commission, Freshwater Commission has hired a new operations director who starts September 7th, and he'll be more of a hands-on supervisory capacity of the operations to give us a little more professional supervision of the operation, I guess you might call it. So that's been a work in progress. I'm now the temporary chairman of that board until the election. So we meet again next week. Stephen, have you got anything? No? The rain hold up your projects a bit? Yeah. Yeah. But it was well due. Yeah. You got nothing today? No? No? Megan? Okay. I can. Good. That's nothing. C.A.O. Becker. Every time I don't give you the opportunity, you say, oh, no. Okay. We've been around the table. I think we want to do some in-camera stuff. So would someone like to move that we go in camera?
Also move, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Barkley. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you.